I'm Kathy Evans Williams, and in my many years as a divorce attorney, I have witnessed couples saying and doing some very hurtful things to each other. This can be very destructive to their children, their finances, and even to the individuals themselves. I like to help couples navigate through the compromises of an uncontested divorce. When your I do turns to I don't, you need a divorce with integrity. So, children is something that I know is near and dear to both of you, because you both put down that you wanted to have a lot of time with the children. So let's talk about that for a second. I see that you have 3 children, Christopher, Janae, and Robert. Looks like Robert was born to you before you two were married. Is that right?
No, actually, when we met, I was pregnant with Robert.
Okay. All right, and that's right, correct?
Right.
Okay. And then you subsequently had 2 more children together. Is that right?
Yes, Christopher and Janae.
Okay. Do either one of you have any children not listed here?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So, as it relates to your 3 children, legally, did you adopt the oldest child?
No, I did not.
Okay. So, legally, he won't have any legal right or obligation to visit with the oldest one. That's the right part. Or obligation, and that's the child support part, since he never really legally adopted the oldest child. So having said that, have you two talked about custody and visitation and child support and all that as it relates to the children?
We tried to.
Well, I'd like to keep the children on holidays and through the summer.
Okay.
She has them all year long, so I think that would be fair.
Okay.
Every holiday.
I don't mind.
Christmas, Easter, New Year's.
I don't mind.
Every holiday.
I don't mind that.
No.
Okay. So let's kind of break down custody. Let's break it down so that we understand what's going on. There's really 2 kinds of custody, okay? There's 2 components. One is residential, and that's where do the children live most of the time?
They live with me.
Okay. And I hear you saying that that's fine.
Yes.
Okay. All right. The other is legal custody, and that is who gets to make the major decisions in the children's lives. If you have sole legal custody, that means, Mom, you would make the major decisions in their lives, and that's it. If you have joint legal custody, that means that you both have to come together as it relates to those children and make mutual decisions that are in their best interest. So have you talked about what kind of custody you want? Legal is up in the air. I think residential we've already discussed. So legal custody, is it going to be sole or joint?
I'd like to keep the kids. I think I want the kids. Sole custody. That's what I would like, yeah.
Okay, so you're changing from...
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How do you feel about that?
You want to keep the kids?
Yeah. I pay for everything for them anyway. I might as well keep them with me, you know.
You want custody of all 3 of our children.
Right.
I'm okay with that. I think that'll last all of 2 weeks. He doesn't want custody of the children. He just wants to hurt me. I'm okay with joint custody. I'm okay with the both of us making decisions for the kids.
Okay. Now, and let me, when you said that you want custody, did you mean that you wanted them to live with you, or just that you want to have input on the major decisions?
Correct.
Okay, so we're talking about the same thing. We're on the same page. We're saying joint legal custody, residential with Mom, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now let's talk about child support. With respect to child support, in Illinois, there's a guideline. Since there are 2 children, now I know that there's 3, but as we talked about earlier, legal doesn't, at this point, the oldest child, there's no legal obligation for dad to pay child support for him. So in Illinois, he would have to pay 28% of his net income for the 2 children.
Okay.
Okay. And you're fine with that?
I guess I am.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, with respect to visitation, and I hate that term, visitation, because parents don't visit with their children. They actually parent their children. But legally, if the children are going to live with mom, you would have rights for parenting time or visitation. And those rights extend to the 2 children. Are you interested in visiting with the 3rd child as well?
Of course. I love all my children.
Okay. All
Even
right.
though the child is not my blood, I still love them.
Okay. All right. And you're fine with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about 28% of your net income that'll be paid to mom for child support. And we're talking about visitation with all 3 children, parenting time. And you mentioned all summer. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And holidays.
Right.
Here's a suggestion. As it relates to the summer, I want you to think about splitting the summer up. And you can agree or not agree, but sometimes parents say, okay, for the first half of the summer, they'll be with one parent. For the other half, they'll be with the other parent. Because typically, right, during the year, the kids are in school, the kids are going to extracurricular activities, mom and dad, you both have a job, so you don't get to spend that long period of time with the children, even if mom has residential custody.
I'm okay with him having like the summer.
Okay, the whole summer.
I'm okay with the whole summer. It's just all the holidays that I disagree with.
Okay.
You can actually have it for the whole summer.
Okay.
Is there a way we can have one year she has them for Christmas and next year I have them for Christmas, because my parents live in another state and I like to take my children to, visit my parents.
Okay. Well, typically there is something called alternating holidays, alternating years, so that you define what holidays you have. For some people, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Day. For other people, Thanksgiving and then the Friday after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Kwanzaa. There's so many different holidays. So you two would define what holidays are important to you, and then determine who's going to have the odd years for visitation and who's going to have the even years. So that way you don't have to worry about alternating years, like what year, who had them last year. If it's an even year, you know who they're going to be with. If it's an odd year, you know who they're going to be with. So I think I hear you saying all summer with dad and then alternating holidays. Is that right?
Yeah, except for Christmas, because Christmas Eve, like, couldn't we do it where I have them Christmas Eve and you can take them Christmas Day, instead of a whole Christmas where neither one of us are getting them that whole holiday? Instead of alternating, like this year, the kids were with me. You didn't get them at all for Christmas. Do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of doing that, I can have the kids on Christmas Eve and you can have the kids on Christmas Day, instead of a whole year where you don't have them at all on Christmas.
And I will say that's the beautiful part of doing this by agreement, because you can create your own schedule. So I think I hear you saying every Christmas Eve with you,
Right.
every Christmas Day with dad, so that each Christmas the children have time to spend with mom and with dad.
Right.
Is that right?
That's something I could live with, yeah.
Beautiful. You guys are doing really well. That piece right there saved you probably about $20,000, because custody is one of the major issues in a divorce. People will fight and fight until they have no more money, till they can't borrow any more money from anybody, and the children by the end of the day need counseling for at least 5-10 years, okay, because they've seen mom and dad clown, and we all know what clown means. So I commend you two on getting through that most difficult part. Don't leave your children or family in jeopardy. People of all income levels need a will to protect their family and surviving assets. Without a proper estate plan or will, the courts will determine who gets what and who will raise your children without considering your wishes. No matter your assets or your income, everyone needs the proper estate plan. My name is Kathy Evans Williams, and I want to make sure your family is protected.